Krishnarpanam astu shubham bhuyat vasudeva sutam devam kansa chanuramardhanam devaki paramanandam Krishnam vande jagadguru. Hari Om. Today we will complete the balance verses of chapter 14 from verse number 21. So last week we discussed the verses when Sri Krishna completed his discussion about the Gunas. And in verse 19, he said that when one transcends the Gunas, that is what is called as liberation. So what is liberation? We must learn how to transcend the three Gunas also. So we will come to that. What is the process to transcend the three Gunas? Then in verse number 20, he explained to us what is the nature of such an enlightened person who has transcended the three Gunas. The technical term used for such a person who has transcended the three Gunas is known as a Gunatit, Gunatit. So that is one who has transcended the three Gunas. What are the benefits of a person who has transcended the three Gunas? There are two benefits which are given in verse number 20. The first benefit is he becomes vimukta. You see the fourth line of the Sanskrit text? It mentions there vimukta. Such a person becomes free. Free from what? From the four basic, what we call situations that causes all our pain, our problems, our anxieties. In life, there are mainly four basic situations. What are they? Krishna mentions them in the third line of the Sanskrit text in verse 20. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Dukher. So one becomes vimukta, free from these four situations of life. And what are they? Janma means birth. So birth means association with family. We have attachment to family. Okay? And then Mrityu means death. We all fear mortality. Jara is old age. When there is change, there is decay in the body. And Dukher means dukkha, the sorrows that we face from day to day, all different types of sorrows. Now, when Krishna uses this term and says one is vimukta from all this, it doesn't mean that these problems go away. But what all this jara, janma, mrityu, jara, dukher, where are they associated with? Is it the body or the soul? They are all associated with the body. So where are the three gunas? In the body or in the soul? In the body. Body meaning prakriti, right? So body, mind, equipment is called prakriti. This body, mind, equipment is the one that is affected by janma, mrityu, jara, dukhe. Whereas the soul is not affected. So when we say transcending the three gunas, it means I do not identify with the body, but I identify myself as the soul. Once I identify myself as the soul and detach my identification from the body, that is what it means by transcending the three gunas. Because I don't identify with my body anymore. I understand that the body will go through all these changes. That is the nature of the body. Like, for example, what is the nature of fire? It gives heat and it gives what you call brilliance, right? We understand the nature of fire. Fire cannot give cold. It can give only heat and brilliance. What is the nature of ice? It can give cold. We understand that very perfectly. Everything in nature has got its own specific quality. And what is the nature of the body? It is subject to constant changes. What is the nature of the mind? It is subject to ups and downs, sorrow, happiness, victory, defeat, etc. So transcending the three gunas is what it means basically is we understand our identification with the soul and not the body. Yet we go through all the changes. It is not that you won't have these changes. It will be there. But what is the difference? What is the difference between an enlightened person? He also has a body. An unenlightened person also has a body. Then what is the difference? Right? Exactly. So one is affected by everything that happens to the body, mind, equipment. One goes through the other changes, but is not at all affected because he understands that is the nature of the body. I cannot. Can you change the nature of fire? Can you change the nature of summer? You cannot change the nature of winter, summer, etc. We understand what is the nature of that. Similarly, we can't change the nature of this body. We can only accept. But once we don't identify with it, then we are no more affected by it. We will see the changes, but we are no more affected by it. So understand this one who is established in this knowledge that I am not this body, it does not mean the body is safe from mortality. It is still subject to mortality. Okay. So what is immortality? Here, like what the Lord says here, one vimukto. So the first advantage is you are free from janma, mrityu, jara, dukhir. What is the second benefit? The second benefit, Krishna says in verse number 20, the last line of the Sanskrit text, asnute amritam. Asnute amrita means one attains immortality. So again, there is no change in the physical body. There is no change in this personality. It is only we accept our immortality means we identify with the immortal soul. We don't identify with the mortal body. So we accept our immortality. That's what it means. Asnute amritam. You accept your immortality. You have no more fear of birth, death, disease, decay, etc. So this is what is called transcending the three gunas. So having explained all this to Arjuna, now Arjuna poses a question in verse number 21. What is Arjuna's question? He wants to know about this gunatit. There are three things he wants to know about this gunatit. So he asks this question, Arjuna Uvacha, verse 21. First question he wants to know is, Kair Linge. Kair means what? Linge means characteristics. So Linge is an extension of the word lingam. Lingam means characteristics. We say Shiv Lingam. But the word lingam means the characteristics of that object. So first thing Arjuna asks the Lord, Kair Linge, what are the characteristics of a gunatit? The person who has transcended the three gunas, I want to know what are his characteristics. Okay. And he addresses Krishna as Prabhu, Lord. Okay. Second question he asks the Lord is, if you look at the third line of the Sanskrit text, Kim Achara. Achara means what is the behavior of such a person? Kim is what? Kim Achara. What is the behavior of such a person? Okay. And the other one is, he wants to know, the third question is, he's asking is, how does one ativartate, how does one transcend ativartate, how does one transcend what? Etan, these three gunas. So how many questions are there now? Three questions. What is the first question? Kim Linge means what are the characteristics of a gunatit? First question. Which Krishna will give the answer in verses 22 and 23. So two verses he answers Arjuna's question, what are the characteristics of a gunatit? Second question, Kim Achara, what is the behavior of a gunatit? And this Krishna will answer in verses 24 and 25. And the last question which Krishna asks, how does one transcend these three gunas? Ati vartate etan trin gunan. How does one transcend these three gunas? Which Krishna will give the answer in verse 26. So in the next 5 verses, Krishna will answer these questions that Arjuna has posed. Okay. So let us look, and the question is, why do we need to know this? Why do we need to know all these things? What is the characteristics? What is the behavior? How do I transcend the three gunas? Why do we need to know all this? Okay, why we need to transcend, the answer was given in verse 20. Okay, that is the reason there. But why do we need to know the characteristics and the behavior of one who has transcended the three gunas? What is the purpose? Sorry? Checklist for ourselves. So are we progressing in that direction? Do I have those characteristics? The more and more I have that behavior and that characteristic, the more and more I'm able to follow that, at least I know I am proceeding in the right direction. Because ultimately that will lead me to moksha. So now Krishna starts to answer the question. So in the first verse 22, he says, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Lord speaks. What does he say? He says, the one who has transcended the three gunas, the characteristics are this. One, prakasham. There is illumination. Prakasha means something that is brilliant, that is shines. So this person has absorbed the knowledge of the scriptures. So he is able to live a life according to the scriptures. So the first characteristic is prakasham, illumination. The second is, just because this person has studied the Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures, doesn't mean he's always sitting down all day 24/7 meditating only. No. Second quality is pravartim. He or she is active in society. He or she does not run away from the duties. The duties may differ according to the roles you play in life. You may be a sannyasi, but you still have duties to do. You will be a householder, you have different duties to do. But the question here is, Gunatit does not run away or avoid his duties. They don't separate their duties. Oh, this is difficult, this is very challenging, this is disturbing, I will not do, I'll just sit down all day and read the Bhagavad Gita. No. He says pravartim. You have to take up whatever duties you are given. And the third is moham. When time comes for rest, time comes for sleep, you have to also follow that, what we call, you need that also. So all three must be there. Prakasham, knowledge. Pravartim, action or duties. Third, moham, rest or sleep. Now, that is something that is in most of us, right? We study knowledge, we take care of our duties, and we rest. But what is the difference in a Gunatit? This is what he explains in the second half of verse 22. He says, Sampravritani. Sometimes these, you see, earlier we mentioned that everybody has these three gunas. But at different types of the day, one of these guna will arise and suppress the other two. So sometimes you get up in the morning, but you feel very lazy, very lethargic, and you go back to sleep. Which guna is dominating? Tamasic gunas. So anytime it can happen that a particular guna can override the other two gunas. So sampravritani is when these gunas appear in him, sampravritani na dveshti, he does not reject them. You see, sometimes we have many troublesome duties to do. We have difficult duties to do. Or sometimes we do something good, but people come and criticize us. So when he does actions and there are what we call no rewards or no recognition, he does not get affected by it. So sampravritani means when the gunas arise in him and he has to perform some duties, he does not look for any benefit or does not look for any recognition from society. If nobody praises him, he is all right with it. It does not affect him at all. And at the same time, he does not run away from his duties. And sometimes there is tamas. He feels a bit lazy, he feels a bit tired. He's not affected by it. He understands that time comes to rest, time comes to sleep, you have to rest. So one is, when the gunas appear in him, he does not get what you call repulse, or he doesn't what you call get upset by these type of gunas. In a sattvic person, sometimes tamasic gunas come in. He does not get affected. And other times, nivritani means they disappear. They don't come in him. So sometimes, we sit down, we want to read the scriptures, but somehow our mind does not, is not able to focus on that. We don't know why. For some particular reason, our mind is running somewhere. And then what happens to us? We feel agitated, we feel angry, we feel frustrated. But this person is not affected. He knows there are times when sattvic gunas are strong. There are times when rajasic gunas take over. Sometimes there is a bit of rajasic guna that pushes you to selfish activity. And sometimes there's tamas that makes you feel lazy. So neither does he reject them, or if you look at it the other way, sometimes you sit down and meditate. You're able to meditate happily for half an hour. No issue at all. Your mind is fully concentrated on meditation. Sometimes you sit for 5 minutes, suddenly what happens? Your mind is running wild. You're unable to control it. And then what happens? You say, last time I could meditate 30 minutes. Why today I'm sitting down 5 minutes, I cannot meditate? You feel upset, you feel agitated. So that sattvic guna has been overpowered by rajasic or tamasic gunas. So this person does not compare. The biggest, I would say, problem we have in life is that we like to compare, isn't it? We always compare with what other people have. Oh, that fellow can meditate for 1 hour. How come I cannot meditate for 1 hour? I can only meditate for 10 minutes. We have to understand everybody has got their own spiritual journey. Very simple example, sometimes we go to a restaurant. We enjoy the food, very nice. We tell all our friends about it. Second time we go, maybe they'll replace the cook. Then what happens? The same dishes you order, the same enjoyment you had, you don't get it now. Then what happens to you? You get irritated, you get frustrated because you are comparing your experience with something else. Whereas a gunatit is not at all affected. Sometimes the situation is right, sometimes the situation is not correct. But he accepts everything. So neither does he get repelled by the situation, neither does he long for something. Something good happened, now it's not happening, it's okay. He accepts it as a part and parcel of life. Okay. So the nature is that he is not affected by the three gunas. Sattva is there, Rajas is there, Tamas is there, but he is not at all affected. He is the master of the three gunas. In the next verse, 23, Krishna goes on to answer the characteristics of a person who has transcended the three gunas. So, one quality he gives here is udasina. Now, the word udasina means something like couldn't care less. She's got a couldn't care less attitude. But then with the word udasina, what does he added there? Udasina vad, V-A-D, vad. Now, udasina vad means as though he couldn't care less. It is not that he is an irresponsible person. He is responsible and he is alert what is happening around him. Where there is compassion required, when there is help required, he is there. So, udasina vad means as though impartial, means he doesn't get carried away or affected by anything. One of the most stories to illustrate this comes from Mahabharata. If you remember King Santanu. So King Santanu, one day he was riding and going about his kingdom, and his eyes fell upon a very beautiful damsel, very beautiful lady. And he wanted to marry her. So she told him, if you want to marry me, go and speak to my father, if he gives permission, I'll marry you. So when he went to speak to the father said, can marry, but there's a condition. What is the condition? You cannot question my daughter, whatever she does, you cannot open your mouth and question. So he was so much in love with her, he said, okay, no problem. What can happen? He said, the minute you question her, she will walk out from your life. He said, okay, no big deal. It's not a very serious matter. No problem. So he married her. First child was born. She took the first child, went to the river and drowned the child. He could not question. She came back again. Few months later, again, she was expecting. Another child came. She took the child, again drowned it in the river. Couldn't say anything. Third child, fourth child, fifth child, sixth child, seventh child, like that. Finally, the eighth one was born. He couldn't take it anymore. So he questioned her, why are you drowning every child of ours? And then she explains to him there's some story behind it. And then she says, now that you question me, I'm leaving the eighth child with you and I'm going out from your life. So now the question comes back here. Sometimes in our moment of excitement, in a moment of happiness, somebody asks us something, we are so happy, we just promise like that. We don't think. So here Udasina word means such a person is not that he is not couldn't care less attitude, but he handles every experience of life in the right way. And why is he able to handle positive and negative experiences? Because Krishna explains here, Yaha, such a person, na vichalyate, is not moved or shaken by the gunas. The gunas will bring different experiences in our life, positive situations, negative situation. This person is not shaken or moved by any experience. Now, you may think that such a person is a robot. You tell him a joke, he doesn't laugh. Why? Because I'm Gunatit. He doesn't laugh, he doesn't cry, he's like a robot. No. It means that what is the difference of having emotions and getting carried away by emotions? What is the difference? One is you have emotions. The other is you become emotionless. You get carried away. What is the difference? A Gunatik, can he not have emotions? Time to cry, he has to cry. Time to laugh, he has to laugh. But what is the difference? Now, so what do we mean by not affected? Have emotions, the other becomes, loses his emotions, gets carried away by emotions. One is what we call reacting. The other is called what? Responding. That is the difference. What is the difference between reacting and responding? What is the difference between reacting and responding? Reacting is not using your thinking equipment. Responding is seeing the situation, analyzing, and then responding. So there is a difference between that. One person gets carried away, the other person does not immediately react but responds appropriately to the situation. That is Udasina Vat. So, and why is he able to remain in this state? He remains steady. One of the common terms used for such a realized soul is samatvam. Samatvam means his mind is balanced. In times of happiness, in times of favorable situation, he doesn't carry it away. He doesn't get arrogant, doesn't look down on people. In times of distress and sorrow, he doesn't go into depression. So he maintains his equal, what you call poise, samatvam. And why is he able to do that? Here again, he explains in this verse 23, avatishtati, he remains established in his own true nature, which is what? Body or soul? What nature is he established in? As a body or as the soul? As a soul. As a soul, he understands everything that affects the body. Right? So, therefore, na ingate, he does not swerve, he does not get shaken by the experiences. Now in verse 24 and 25, Krishna will answer the second question. What are the, what is the behavior of a gunatit. Okay. So, verse 24, he says, Sama dukkha sukha. Same in terms of dukkha, in terms of sorrow, in terms of happiness also. Okay. Why again he explains this? Swashtaha. Swashtaha means he's established in the self. He finds the happiness within from the soul itself, from the Atman itself. He is always in a state of Satchit Ananda. So neither sorrow can disturb him, neither can happiness also make him get carried away. So Sama, Dukkha, Sukha, he is able to respond to every situation in the right manner. So this is regarding his experiences in the world, whatever situation he faces. And if we look even at the life of great sages and saints, it's not that they had an easy life. They were criticized by people, they were hounded by people, many people didn't believe them. And many of the stories that you read about the great saints and sages, they were persecuted, but they never got affected. They carried on with their mission also. And if you look at the life of these sages and saints, sometimes they go to a kingdom. The king invites them to his palace, gives them a nice room to sleep, gives them good food to eat. So one day they enjoy in their comfort. The next day they leave the palace, they go into the forest. They are also equally happy. They can sleep on the grounds of the forest. They can eat the fruits and whatever is available in the forest. They don't get affected at all. So that is the mentality of a sage and a saint. So first is sama dukkha sukha. The second quality here is given is samaha, he is equally minded or he has equal response to what? Three things. Loshta. Loshta means some earth, some mud or earth. That is loshta. Asma is iron, a piece of iron. And kanchana is gold. So here again, if we take the direct meaning of all this, what it tells us is that a gunatit is one, to him, a lump of earth, iron, and gold are the same. But is it the same? So, what is he trying to tell you here? What is the difference between lump of earth, iron, and gold? The difference is in the value, isn't it? So, value means the least valuable is what? What is the most least valuable? Lump of earth. Second, metal or iron. Okay. Third, gold. So, what is he trying to tell us here? See, for us in our life also, we have various possessions. Some possessions maybe cost a few dollars. Some possessions maybe cost a few $1,000s. Some even like a house or a car may cost you a few 100,000 or even millions of dollars. So what happens when you lose, let's say, a ballpoint pen? What happens? You cannot find the ballpoint pen. What happens? Do you sit the whole day and cry? I lost my 2 ringgit ballpoint pen. But if you lose a earring, what happens? Ladies are smiling. What happens when you lose a gold earring? You get very upset, right? So, but to a gunatit, he is not that he doesn't understand the value of things, but to him everything is temporary. Comes into his life, when it comes is by the grace of God. When it goes also is by the grace of God. So he does not get shaken when he loses any possessions. It can be a cheap thing or it can be expensive thing. Secondly, we look upon things with their practicality. For example, is a scissor more important than a earring? Is a scissor more important than a earring? Which is more important to you? Which one? Huh? Earring. How many of you say earring? Huh. So now the question is, do you look upon thing with a value or do you look upon it as a practicality? Example, can you use a earring to cut paper or cut a piece of cloth? Cannot. But you won't wear a scissor on your ear and walk around, right? Isn't it? So the question here is, we look at everything objectively. Everything has got its place in life, number one. Number two, any object that comes in and goes should not affect us because everything has its time and place also. Sometimes we get something, sometimes we lose something. So to a gunatit, again we are talking about a gunatit, is not at all affected, whether it is something cheap or whether it is something expensive. Even you get an expensive gift, he is not at all affected because to him all these things have got only monetary value. Can more gold make you a more better spiritual person? Can more diamonds make you a more better spiritual person? So if you're interested in spirituality, would you be so interested, so thinking every time about your gold possession? You're more concerned about how to become a better human being. So we look at things depending on their value, not on the monetary value. Okay. So Samaloshtas Kanchana. In the Gospel of Ramakrishna, there's a very interesting story where the author who wrote about this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, a thief broke into the temple of Vishnu and he robbed the deity of all the precious jewels, gold, everything. He took everything and went off. So Ramakrishna and his disciple, the disciple was the name called Mathur Babu, very close disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. They went to visit the temple and to find out what happened. And then they saw the deity was stripped of all the precious gold chains, jewelry, everything, diamonds, all gone. So what did Mathur Babu say? He said to Ramakrishna, what a shame. Oh Lord, the thief took all the precious jewels from your body and you didn't do anything about it. So thereupon Ramakrishna got very upset and he told Mathur Babu, he said, shame on you. How improper your words are. To God, the jewels of which you speak so highly, they are nothing but a lump of clay. So why? He said, Vishnu, who is his consort? Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a possessor of all wealth. So to the Lord who has Lakshmi with him, which means he has all the wealth in the world, what is some little jewel or some few chains of gold? It does not affect the Lord at all. So he says, do you think the Lord should spend sleepless nights because a thief has taken a few jewels? It doesn't matter much to the Lord. So these are the examples which a gunatit also does not get affected. Next quality he gives here is a gunatit is priya. Priya means agreeable or at the same time apriya. Not agreeable to what? He is tulya. He is equal-minded. He doesn't look for favorable situations or unfavorable situation. Now, again, a gunatit is somebody who can meet people who are friendly to him. There are people who be hostile to him, but he does not get affected at all. So here he says there are different type of people. Basically, two type of people in this world we meet. One who are ninda. The word ninda means they are people who always will criticize you. No matter what good you do, they're only out to criticize you. And the second type of people are Atma Samstuti. Atma Samstuti means they are those who always will glorify you or praise you. So even people who praise you also, you must be very careful. Because not necessarily they are praising you. There might be some other intention also behind it. So to a gunatit, he is able to face people who criticize him. At the same time, he is able to handle people who praise him. Now, what is the difference? People who praise you and people who criticize you. How does it affect us? When people criticize you, what do you feel? Do you feel happy? You feel depressed, you feel dejected, you feel angry, you feel frustrated. When people praise you, what happens to you? You feel very elated, you feel very egoistical, you feel on top of the world. So actually, one Swamiji was asked, see, the disciples asked him, Sir, so many people come, they insult you, yet you're always smiling. Why? When people are insulting you, scolding you, you're smiling. Why? He said, what is the purpose we come into this world for? What is the purpose we come in this world for? To make other people happy, isn't it? So when people are scolding you, are they happy or sad? When people are criticizing you, ask yourself a question, are they happy or sad? Huh? They are happy, isn't it? So he said, by them criticizing me, I've made one person happy. So my purpose in the world is to come and make everybody happy. So by criticizing me, if you are happy, that means I've served my purpose in life. So why should I feel upset? Right? People are criticizing you, they are happy, let them be happy. In fact, to make people happy, what we have to do? Sometimes we have to buy expensive presents, we have to take them out for dinner. But here he says, all I have to do is let people criticize me, they are happy already. So the most simplest thing to do is let people criticize you. They are happy, you have made them happy. Atma Samstuti, they are tulya. Tulya means they are even-minded. Neither do they get egoistical, carried away when people praise them, neither do they get depressed also when people criticize them also. And such a person is called a dhira. The word dhira here means the one who has the right understanding of life, a wisdomized person. Okay. In fact, the scriptures tell us that three things affect our situations in life. Three things are always playing on our circumstances in life. What are they? Desa, Kala, and Prarabdha. So three, what you call situations can play in your life at any time. Desa means where you're born, your surroundings. Supposing you're born in a country where there's continuous war or there are always electricity or water shortages. You're born in that environment. Desa can also affect you. You might not be able to choose where you're born, but supposing you're born in such a country where there is poverty, there is unemployment, there is no what you call opportunities in life, and there are many countries like that. So one is desa, can affect us. Second is kala. Kala means time. Sometimes we go through very good situation. There will come a time also some things go wrong in our life also. So kala means time also can bring its positive and negative time benefits. And the third is, even if desa is okay, kala is also okay, the third thing you have to watch out is your prarabdha karmas. What are prarabdha karmas? You remember the three type of karmas that affect your life? What are they? Sanchit karmas, prarabdha karmas, agami karmas. So sanchit karmas are your warehouse. They are not going to affect you in this life. Agami are the new actions that you do that have not been performed yet. But what can affect you is actions in the past life that are fructifying in this life, and they are called prarabdha karmas. So anytime these prarabdha karmas can enter into your life. They can give you pleasant situations, they can give you unpleasant situations. So a dhira, meaning a wise person, understands that life is a play of desa, kala, prarabdha. Anything can happen at any time. So this is another quality. Then verse number 25, more qualities, behavior of a gunatit, okay, one who has transcended. So the quality he gives here is mana, meaning sometimes people honor you. Apamana, sometimes people dishonor you, discredit your character, or what you call criticize you. Again, what is the situation here? Tulya. The person, the gunati, does not get affected by people who praise him or people who criticize him. Mana, apana. See, mana, apamana here means a bit different from the earlier verse, because here mana has more to do with physical. That means people sometimes garland you, right? Or they give you a VIP seating to sit in front, and sometimes they ignore you, because sometimes when you are somebody known, you're sitting in a power or position. When you come to a ceremony, they garland you, they give you a nice place to sit. When you lose that power or position, they don't even look at you also. Where you're sitting, what, they don't care at all. So mana, apamana deals more with physical recognition. Okay. Tulya. Then also tulya with what? Mitra, those who are your friends. Ari, those who are your enemies. And the third type of people are called pakshayo, means those who take sides. So they are partial. They will support one group and they won't support. Just because they like that person, they will support. They don't like you, whether you do something good also, they won't support you. So again, three types of people in life: mitra, friends, ari, enemies, or pakshayo. So this gunati does not divide people into different groups of people. He treats everybody equally. Now, one of the beautiful example that Adi Shankaracharya gave is for us to learn to separate a person from the character. So he gave a beautiful example of sandalwood. Sandalwood gives a beautiful fragrance. But he says when you take sandalwood and you leave it out in the open, when there is rain, there, what you call, when sandalwood is wet, moss begins to cover the sandalwood. And moss gives a very foul smell. But that foul smell, is it the nature of sandalwood or moss? It's the moss. But we understand the nature of sandalwood is to give fragrance. But the moss, because it covers the sandalwood, it overpowers the fragrance and gives us a foul smell. In the same way, if we look at the whole creation, every human being is divine, is pure in nature. But because of the covering of the three gunas, which is the moss, right, whether it is sattvic or rajasic or tamasic, the person behaves according to the gunas. So what is our role? Our role is to understand, to learn to separate the person from the action. So very, very careful, huh? Person and the action. What do we do with the action? Supposing the person is hostile to you, the person is getting violent towards you, do we say, no, I only see divinity in you, you can hammer me as much as you want? Do we say that? To the action, we give the appropriate reaction. But to the person, we send our love and our, what we call, our good wishes. So we have to understand that. Just like a good example is a parent punishing the child. The parent might beat the child with a ruler or a stick or whatever, but deep down in the heart is what? Is there love or hatred for the child? There is only love for the child. So the action is to discipline the child, but behind that action is the love. The same way a guru might admonish a disciple, but because out of love for the disciple, doesn't want to see the disciple fall. So because of that, but when he shouts at the disciple, there is no anger in that guru. So in that same way, a gunati knows how to separate the person from the action. And then next quality he gives there, sarva aramba parityagi. Sarva, all. Aramba means before the actions are commenced, parityagi, he renounces that. So what does this mean? Renouncing before the action commences. The renunciation happens before the action commences. Meaning what? See, in any type of action that we perform, before the action comes the motive. Motive then leads to action. After you perform the action, what, what is the component after that? Motive, action, then the result, karma palam, right? Okay. So if the motive is pure, the action will be pure and the result will be pure also, right? If the motive is evil, action will be evil, result will be evil. So what he's trying to tell here is that we must renounce the motive behind the action, meaning our actions should be prompted by selfless desires. The desire to serve people, the desire to do good, and always consider ourselves as an instrument in the hands of the Lord. So by that we remove the ego. We don't think that we are doing the action. We always consider ourselves as an instrument in the hands of the Lord. So these type of actions in our scriptures is called nishkama karma. Kama, kama means desires. Nishkama means actions which are not prompted by selfish desires. Actions which are prompted by selfish desires are called sakama karma, Sakama, meaning they are backed by selfish desires. We are only interested, before we perform the action, we want to know what is our benefit, what is our result for us. So when we surrender to the Lord and perform all our actions, whether they are spiritual actions, whether they are worldly actions, we always consider ourselves as an instrument in the hands of the Lord. So Krishna concludes by saying, Gunatit saha uchyate. Saha uchyate, such a person is said to be a gunatit. So he's answered two questions of Arjuna. What are the characteristics of a gunatit, and what is the behavior of a gunatit? Now comes the last question. What was the last question? How do I become a gunatit? What is the procedure or the path to become a gunatit, to transcend these three gunas? So here Krishna answers in verse number 26. He says, Yaha, he who sevate. Sevate has got many translations. One of the translations says meditates. So he who meditates, Yaha sevate mam, on me, the Lord. So we must understand, here meditate doesn't mean just sitting down, closing your eyes. What is the true definition of meditation? Who is the one who is truly in a meditative state? What is the true definition of meditation? Is it just sitting in one corner, closing your eyes? How do you define a meditator? Union with God, exactly. One whose mind is constantly fixed on God. Right? There was a joke that two friends met on the way, and one fellow asked the other fellow, "Where are you going?" The fellow says, "I'm going to temple." And then the other friend asked him, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to the bar." So one went to temple, one went to the bar. But the man sitting in the temple was thinking about his friend enjoying in the bar. And the person who was sitting in the bar was thinking how nice his friend is sitting in the temple. He must be seeing the image of God. Now, who's the real meditator? Who's the real meditator? Huh? So please don't go to bar next time and think you're meditating. It's just a allegory, okay? So meditation means, where is your mind fixed? Every action that I'm doing, I can bring Lord into my life. So every action of mine becomes a meditation. Meditation is not just sitting there, closing your eyes, sitting in that whatever that position and just thinking. Meditation is bringing the Lord into your life. Everything I eat, everything I breathe, everything I do, I think of the Lord. I think of myself as an instrument of the Lord. So he says here, Yaha sevate, the one whose mind is absorbed in Lord. And when? Normally, when is our mind absorbed in Lord? Huh? Sorry? Only when you're in trouble only. Then you remember the Lord. Not in good times. Good times you normally don't remember. Not people like you. I'm not talking about your type of people, but majority of people. So here he says, he uses one very important word here. Avya bicharena. So the meditation is what type of meditation? Your mind being absorbed in Lord. Avya bicharena, unshaken, unswerving, constant meditation. Meaning, good times also, I thank the Lord. Bad times also, I thank the Lord because He's there with me and supporting me. So the Lord is never away from me. Constantly, my mind is fixed in Lord. There's one beautiful verse in chapter 9. Let me see, where's that verse? Chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, chapter 9, verse 27, page 175. Okay, chapter 9, verse 27. This is chapters about bhakti, about devotion to the Lord. And in the previous verse, 26 verse, he simplifies devotion to such a simple, it's a very famous verse in the Gita, chapter 9, verse 26. Patram pushpam palam toyam. The Lord says, offer me patram. What is patram? Leaf. Pushpam, flower. Phalam, fruit. Toyam, water. And how much quantity to offer? We like to go and put thousands and thousands and hundreds of flowers and all that. What is saying here? A leaf, a fruit, a flower, little water. But what is saying? Offer me with purity in your heart. That I accept. So it is not the quantity that you offer the Lord, is the quality in your heart that you offer it with. Number one. After that, he says in the next verse 27, whatever you do, every action that you perform, whether it's worldly or spiritual, whatever you eat, before you eat, thank the Lord, invoke the Lord in your prayers, say the food mantra, which is in the Gita also. Whatever you offer as oblation, when you put in the fire, what do we say? What do we say when we offer oblation into the fire? What does swaha mean? You know what swaha means? Swaha means swahanam. Hanam means to kill or destroy. Swa means the self. So when you're offering swaha, you're saying to kill or destroy the self. What is that self that you want to destroy? The ego, exactly. So you are telling the Lord, swaha, please help accept my oblation and help me kill my ego, because that is the biggest downfall of spirituality, on the spiritual path. So whatever you offer as oblation to the sacred fire, whatever you give as a gift, normally we give danam. What do we think? I gave the temple so much donation. But what he's saying, when you give donation, think of the Lord, because you are an instrument in the hands of the Lord. That's why you are fortunate enough to give people. So always look upon the receiver with gratitude. The giver is not the person, the receiver has to be looked upon with gratitude. So whatever you bestow as gift, whatever you do by way of penance, whatever you do, think of the Lord. Offer it all to me. So this is not sitting in front of the Lord and offering Him. Anytime you're doing anything in your daily life, mentally invoke the Lord and offer it to Him. So here he's saying, what type of bhakti, what type of meditation? Avya bicharena, through unswerving, unshaken, constant. Good times, bad times, you're always thinking of the Lord. And he calls it the Bhakti Yogena, yoga of devotion. That is the true devotion. To invoke the Lord and remember Him and keep Him in your mind through ups and downs of life, constantly what you call soaking your mind in that devotion, who is constantly absorbed in the Lord. Okay, that is the true definition of bhakti. So in fact, there is a text known as Narad Bhakti Sutras. Have you all heard of Narad Bhakti Sutras? You all know who is Narad, right? He's a great sage also, Narad Muni. And how did this Narad Bhakti Sutras, it's a very short text, only 84 verses, okay, very short text, but it is soaked with devotion. If you want to know who is a true devotee of Lord, read Narad Bhakti Sutras. And how did Narad Bhakti Sutras came about is when one day Narad Muni visited Ved Vyasa. You all know who's Vyasa, right? He wrote the Mahabharata, he codified the 4 Vedas and etc. So Narad Muni visited Ved Vyasa in his hermitage, which was known as Badarik Ashrama. Now, Ved Vyasa has written so much of texts. He's a very knowledgeable person. Yet he said, man seeks liberation, he told Narad Muni, but without devotion, it is dry. So he says, only knowledge bestows liberation, but without devotion, knowledge is dry. So Ved Vyasa recognizes this. I am a great knowledgeable person, but my devotion is still dry. So he asked Narad Muni, I humbly ask you to explain to me what are the virtues or the qualities of devotion. So in that answer to Ved Vyasa, Narad composed 84 sutras to give the very essence of devotion. And in that one portion of the text, Narad mentions 6 practices on how one can cultivate devotion for the Lord. 6 practices. Number 1, constantly living in the company of saints. So whenever the saints and sages come to give talks, we should try our best to go and attend and listen, be in the company of sages and saints. Number 2, hearing the leelas of Bhagwan, the pastimes of Bhagwan. We listen to recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam or Ramayana or Shiv Purana, all this which tells us about all the actions of the Lord. 3, study the sacred scriptures. Every day, keep time aside to study at least 1 or 2 verses of any scripture. 4, worship Him first in several forms as manifested. Okay, worship any picture or image which you are attracted to in any form. 5, every day recite His name. Take any mantra, whichever deity that you are fond of, recite the names of the deity or the Lord. Okay, Nama Japa. 6, sing His glories. That means engage in bhajan or singing His glories. So all these activities done on a regular basis help us to focus our mind on the Lord. Okay, so for such a bhakta absorbed in constant devotion, he undertakes all his actions, both worldly and spiritually. Yes, yes. Sing his glories, singing his glories. Okay, meaning bhajans. Okay, so the Lord says, Saha, such a devotee who worships the Lord with unconditional love, Samtitya, having gone beyond Etan Gunan, he will finally transcend the 3 Gunas. He will come to that situation and transcend. So start with devotion. That is what he's telling you. First, start with devotion. Every day do something to fix your mind on the Lord. And then he says, such a devotee will kalpate, qualifies to Brahma Bhuyaya, become Brahman, meaning he will merge eventually with Brahman. So you start with devotion and then eventually you will come to be one with the Supreme Being also. Okay. So, yeah. Right. Hmm. Oh no, that was this one, the Narad Sutras. The other one was because that king who was supposed to die in 7 days, he was bitten by a snake. Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay. On devotion. Correct. Yes. Krishna, which is what Bhagavatam is about. Right? Okay, could be. Yeah. Understand. Okay. So I just finished the last verse. And then just to let you all know, next week there won't be class because of Hanuman Jayanti celebrations. And then the following Saturday we'll resume with chapter 15. So I'll just finish the last verse of chapter 14. So here again, this last verse is linked to chapter 15 also. Okay. So now here Krishna describes that ultimate destination that is known as Brahman. Okay. So he says that destination which is to be attained or reached by every dedicated seeker. So he says, Brahmanam Pratishta Aham Eva. Aham Eva, I am verily that Pratishta, the very basis of Brahman. So we have to understand this here, that Brahman is the ultimate reality, which is unmanifest and not subject to change. From Brahman comes all the different powers of Brahman. So you have Krishna, Shiva, Vishnu, etc. So many other, Ganesha, whatever. So what he's saying is that he is the basis of Brahman. So ultimate goal is to reach Brahman. So wherever in the Gita, when Krishna says I, Aham does not refer to the Krishna form, but it refers to that Brahman, which is the ultimate destination of every spiritual seeker. So he says, what is that Brahman? Now he's describing that ultimate destination. It is Amritasya, immortality. It is a very quality of immortality, number one. Number two, Avya Yasya, it is immutable. It is not subject to change. So once you merge with that, that means there is no more coming back for subsequent births. You are the stage of immortality, and Avya Yasya means immutable, not subject to modification, decay. So the first stage is, while living, we accept our state as we are immortal and we are not subject to change, because we don't identify with the body, we are identifying with the soul. Such a person is called a Jivan Mukta. He is free while living. Jivan means living, Mukta means free. And when upon death, you merge with that ultimate reality, that is called Videha Mukta. Videha Mukta means you don't have to come back for a subsequent birth. So it is stage by stage that you go up to this state of immortality. Amritasya Avyayasya. And another description for this Brahman is Shashvatasya, which is eternal. That means before the creation of the world, Brahman was there. While the world existed, Brahman will be there. When this world goes into dissolution, Brahman will still exist. So he's there eternally from the beginning of time. And the next quality is Dharmasya, of Dharma. It is a righteous goal. Once we pursue this goal, it is only the path of Dharma. It is the path of perfection. It will take us towards the path of Dharma. And the next quality he gives here is Sukhasya Aikantikasya. Aikantikasya means absolute Sukhasya. It will give you the absolute bliss, absolute happiness. Why? Because it is permanent, it is non-changing. Why does our happiness keep changing? As long as you depend on things of the world, your happiness will subject to change, because the world is constantly changing. People keep on changing, objects keep on changing, situations keep on changing. As long as we depend upon the world, our happiness also will keep on changing. But when we turn our direction and seek happiness from that Satchit Ananda, our happiness will remain constant. That is Sukhasya Aikantikasya cha, absolute happiness. So that is the goal. How to reach that goal? Chapter 15 will explain to us in elaboration what are the practices we need to do, how to attain that goal. It's a very beautiful chapter. It is called Purushottama Yoga. So Purushottama, Purusha is you and me, we are Purushas, but only the Lord is called Purusha Uttama. So that is Purushottama. So how to merge with that Purushottama is beautifully explained in chapter 15. So we'll come back 2 Saturdays from now and start with chapter 15. Okay, we end with a prayer. Vasudeva Sutam Devam